The way we wanted to have it happen has now fallen into place. It was going to be maybe Sunday, Monday, and now it is going to be Saturday, Sunday. As far as my dad,
Yeah.
taking care of my dad,
Okay.
we are moving him in on Saturday, and then
Okay.
he is getting moved in on Sunday. And we moved Kevin's flight to later in the evening on Sunday. So this way he will be able to be there to bring my dad to the new facility. And we're going to pick him up about 8:30, 8:45 in the morning.
Fantastic. So Robin was saying she called the facility where her
Mm-hmm.
dad now is and say, we're moving him. And that was that.
Good. Simple as that. I'm sure it happens all the time. They're not going to fight it.
No, but for me personally, it was that inner conflict, and
Yeah.
I had to shift that
Right.
Went like a
and go
breeze.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when it happened, it was another one of those, oh my gosh, how easy was that again? All I was doing was changing my mind. Here was another experience where all I was doing was changing my mind. And then I started going back to, when we were talking about the house where I changed my mind and I felt so good. I'm going, this is the same
Yeah.
situation. It
Right.
looks different, but it's just,
Right.
I just changed my mind.
It-
And
Right.
it was really neat to sit with because it was different, and how you can have something similar and you go back into habit or you go back into old patterns. And so there's always that learning. There's always more. There's always more. There's always more.
that old fear of conflict too. Kind of can paralyze you if you don't recognize what it is to move past it. It's the old, and then the outcome is always, Jesus, why didn't I, what did I get so wound up about? That was nothing. Sometimes it's you talking to somebody, in this case, of a potential conflict that never even happened. And you're like, and I wasted my time thinking about this before. It was easy because you shifted yourself. Yeah. Is your mom there with you?
Not yet. She'll be here this morning, and then Kevin has conference calls this morning. He calls it conference call Thursday, so he's always on conference calls. So he'll be doing his conference calls, and then we'll be off and running. Then I'll have to go to the cleaner. I have a few errands to do before we go.
Good. Good.
But we mentioned on Monday, the two things that stood out was the acknowledging don't, but also at simplicity.
Mhm.
So
So
before we go into that quickly, I just want to connect what you were saying to apologizing for oneself.
sure.
So when you get into the whole deal, this is how we got to not apologizing. It's not just being apologizing for causing inconvenience or whatever, but also not apologizing for being who we are. It's a very, very important thing. Yeah. Anyway, keep going, Robin.
Well, no, that being and doing that's
Yeah, it's a
that's
big
come
shift.
up in the past couple of days too. The simplicity part was that I was mentioning that I felt like I was getting back into old habit,
Mhm.
the thoughts, and I actually had made another appointment to go to Tim because it had helped me last time before I had gone
Mhm.
away.
Mhm.
And here's the simplicity part: is that I walk in there going, I feel like my head's spinning. I'm going down to my dad, and all this stuff happens. So here I am assuming that I am feeling the exact same way, when all it was is that my constitution is spleen. So what do I start to do with spleen? Overthink.
Mhm.
So it was a simple, just spleen adjustment, so to speak, with the acupuncture. I mean, I was literally in there for maybe a half hour. He just did the simple spleen thing. I all of a sudden clarity. I could see. I was grounded, and that's how I was able to. Nope, this is the way it is. Boom. So it was just really interesting how it was simple. I was making it complex because I was getting caught in the
Yeah.
head, and it wasn't even habit. It was the habit of my constitution, but it wasn't the habit that I was thinking of, that I
And
was
you
making
think,
it out to be.
yeah, you think you need the help from somebody else, but you really don't. You already had all the answers.
I mean,
You
I just needed a tweak. All I needed was a tweak, a simple tweak, and I went, oh my gosh, here I was getting ready to go down.
know.
It was fabulous, and it just kept me going for the rest of the week.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, um,
Simple stuff. Simple stuff.
okay, so now we go back to simple as far as, Sue, I know we've mentioned this, I've mentioned this to you, you mentioned this to me, and I know we've mentioned it to you still, but how this program, like, you really don't need anything else. And so, and what's really interesting about this is that you learn the techniques of cranial just to kind of have a guide of what you're supposed to feel under your hands.
Mm.
But what has been very interesting in the gifts that have been given to me in regards to clients this week is
not just listening.
What has helped, what has circled back is everything that I've learned in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Brilliant.
as soon as I started using the power concepts, I was just, as soon as I started doing allowing, acknowledging, awareness, just bringing those into the session, and I mean speaking that with the client,
Mm-hmm.
the shift, the change that was seen not only in the body, but the eyes, the aha, it was a really, it was a really another for me, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
the tools in this course are unbelievable. And I
Yes,
think, yeah, other manual tools, but there's a bigger psychology, I believe, to it all, than the actual. So it's like being able to assist somebody to get their resolution without even touching them. And
yes, and it's just using those concepts, and they're ones that I know because we go over these so much and I understand them.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
just had to use the word.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
It was, yeah.
Exactly. This is the entire kind of genius of the mechanism. Once you really understand the pyramid and how you built that pyramid, of which the concept is the capstone, everything inside the pyramid automatically comes with the concept. You don't have to remember all the details. That's it. It's like when you say cranial sacral, you know what it means. You don't have to remember each and everything that went and learnt in class. Yeah.
Exactly.
Same way. It's an aggregating mechanism, a tagging mechanism, a recall mechanism, an association mechanism. We're associating to the whole understanding rather than needing to remember each little thing individually. So this, an overview conception like that, it's incredibly powerful, incredibly powerful. Yes. That's why we also build them into our language so that we're constantly using it, and through using it you also connect to it, and you now leverage your own inner self-honesty. If I'm talking about it, I better know what I'm talking about, otherwise I'm just a phony and a liar, and I can't be that. So then you make it more your own, you make it more real, you connect to it, and you entrench it within yourself. Very, very simple, but very, very powerful. It's very cool. It's very cool. It's very
And
cool.
and yesterday for the client on my table, the big one was nincompoopery.
Ah, wow. Yeah. It's such a
Yes,
cool term.
we
Such
yes
a
we had a
powerful, powerful
because
concept.
it had come up with how do you something about taking yourself seriously, and we had a little discussion on nincompoopery, and because during the session, I would just say check in with yourself, and they were like, I'm thinking about that, taking myself so seriously, and it brings anxiety that he doesn't know how to be a little giddy with himself and foolish and know he could be silly. And so we had a little talk about that, and it was really it was nice, it was neat. And now that I know what nincompoopery is, and I remember because seeing the wheels turning, him sharing how the body was feeling, I remember that. I remember
Oh,
when we had done that and how it was hard to try. But then when you tried it, it was, oh my gosh, that wasn't so bad. And now I can just laugh at myself, and it's fun.
yes. To embrace our child side In other words, to be able to be childlike is very different to being childish. And this is the magic when we embrace nincompooperi in its positive aspect. We get to have fun and be childlike and be free and innocent and joyful and mischievous and all sorts of wonderful things. And none of those are silly or negative. None of them. So yeah, that's why I love nincompooperi. It's also, when yes, sometimes we can be nincompoops in a silly idiotic way, and it's like, oh, what was I doing? But it takes the stress out of it, and it is a joyful side to it. Well, and that the fun playful side, which is very, very, very important to see that balance, the necessity. Yeah. To acknowledge and nincompooperi says I can be an idiot, but I can also be joyful and play and embrace my child side. Which why must we stop being children? There's no need for it. None. None, none, none. Right?
Absolutely.
Very cool. Very, very, very cool. But the difference between childlike and childish is a huge one. I mean, you see it in like Sue and Beena every now and then. You see their childlike side come out, which is fantastic. But I don't ever see anything childish ever in what they do. So
Mm-hmm.
or how they are, just it's not there.
All right. Anything else?
So cool, so cool, so cool, so cool. So what about the queuing? Did you think some more on the queuing?
Well, that definitely was that one session yesterday because
Hmm.
I it's funny, I forgot about the queuing until I saw Sue's text again, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's what I was doing yesterday during the session," and didn't even realize it because I noticed how I was able to shift myself. That I was, when I looked back on it, I go, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I was starting to tell
Mm-hmm.
and saw the
Wow.
reaction, and then I paused and I
Nice.
came out
Nice.
and then I came back in of sharing and stepping out, and then that's where when the sharing of the concepts came in, just cueing different words, how it just shifted, but it was also shifting me. It
Hmm.
was a really interesting thing because I was cueing myself, which was helping cue the client, and that was neat because I was the client, even though I had the client with me, and the sessions I had a couple of sessions this week that were very similar to that when I started going back and looking at them.
Hmm.
Um, Even with the kids, just how I would use a different phrase. But again, it all started with me. It all
Abs-
started with me cueing myself
Yes.
before I did that with someone else. So that was
Yes.
I
Brilliant.
checked in a lot with myself this week, I could say.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I checked in a lot with myself this week before I, you know,
So the self-conception is shifting. I mean, you already conceive of yourself as a spirit warrior, but that is now, in terms of the legacy, long term idea of Robin, it's now shifting more towards Robin, spirit warrior. As a spirit warrior, what is there to apologize for about yourself? Nothing. Yeah.
no, and even when I caught myself that one time with the telling,
Mm,
I caught myself.
yeah. Brilliant. 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 Brilliant.
And I really had to go back to that whole intent versus intention because that's always been my biggest lesson too, aside from patience and everything else. But when I was in the beginning of the week, when I was wavering and having that, I said, no, we've got to shift this. What is my intent? And I stopped, I paused. And that's when I just said, this is what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And yeah, okay, this is really cool because I shifted to this is what needs to happen. This is what's going to happen. And now I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow through with it. And everything just dink, 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 dink.
Excellent. Excellent.
Um, yes. So there you would have the cueing. This is what I have planned. This is what I have done. This is da. And everybody just went, okay, okay. So it's been pretty wild. And I made lists. I've gone back to, especially I've gone back to the beginning again with lists. So I put it right on my cat like yesterday. Oh my gosh, yesterday. I had 2 sessions, had to bring Kelly she went to go look at a prom dress.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Then went back and had another session. Then I had an appointment at 6, and then I had yoga at 7:30, and I did it all.
Wow.
And I did it all
Without stress.
without stress. I had the boxes checked off, and I just did them. I didn't bring any extra with me. I stayed right where, okay, this is done. Okay, this is done. And it was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And it was a little tiring
Mhm.
because I took yesterday to look at that as well. Not that every day is going to be like that, but I said, okay, let's really examine this day. And as I was going through each task that I had on my list, I actually kept checking in on myself
Mhm.
Excellent.
and being in the moment and going, wow, you just got that done.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we're going to the next one. Okay, you got that done.
Wow.
I didn't add anything to it. I didn't add to it and I didn't take away from it. I just did it. So yeah, it was a pretty neat day and more understanding of how I can have more days like that if I choose.
Mhm. Yeah. And how does it feel to take that much time for yourself and pay attention to Robin?
It was interesting because there was that part that wanted to I'm tired.
Mhm.
This is too much. There was that little teeny part that I knew was there, and if I gave it attention, could be there.
Mhm.
But it was more of that question mark that we've talked about. That
Mhm.
you should always have that question mark. And I didn't. It was just okay. I see you, but I didn't hear you. I didn't engage with you. I didn't, and I just kept going. So it felt really. That's probably part of what this test is that I had mentioned like with yesterday is can you do this even though you're feeling this way? Can you still do this if it's coming from the right spot?
Mhm.
Because there's also that part of so honoring yourself when you really do need to rest or not
Right.
do something.
Right.
So this is kind of, I guess, me testing and playing around with this right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Is there I don't know how to say it. Is there a kind of like an inherent like a codependency that you feel that, like you said, you couldn't you didn't want to miss this, but you were really tired and you could have slept in, but for you to be able to figure it out for yourself, you know, do you feel that you can't do that without a group like us?
No,
Can you do it on your own? Can you figure it out on your own, or do you feel a dependency?
no, I don't feel a dependency.
Okay.
Brilliant.
No, no,
Brilliant.
no. I think it's because it's more fascinating at the moment. So it's almost like an exploration versus a,
Yes.
because there's
Yeah.
a shift going on here. You know, Sue, I had thought about you, believe it or not, too, with the getting up early and the exercising, because I know I need to shift
Mm-hmm.
my choices. And so that's actually what's in the back of my head is, okay, it's, can I keep going? Even though I may feel this way, can I keep going? Yeah, it's actually an experiment. I almost feel like I'm
Brilliant.
experimenting right
Brilliant.
now.
See where your limits are. Absolutely. Very good.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. You won't know until you test them and try them
exactly.
for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is definitely experimentation, which is new and different for me too. You know,
Anything. I mean, this course, the times, the whatever, there's shifts in your life. You know, it's determining, you know, how much does it really mean to you, that you make that commitment. That's no different than a course like this, or exercising, or food, or whatever. You know, taking other classes. It's your own personal, real commitment to it that's going to make the difference to motivate you. You know.
and I think that's part of, you know, and part of this could be because, you know, in a week and a half, I start the massage class.
Oh my God, already. It is almost
And
Wow.
yes,
Wow.
I went and picked up the book yesterday, and, you
Wow.
know, now that's going to be a commitment, you know, at night.
Yeah.
And morning's not so bad for me, but nights for me, I am early to bed, early to rise.
That's how I am.
Excellent.
You know, dark time, I'm in bed.
Yeah.
So this probably where I'm at right now with this experimentation is my preparation for
Mhm.
staying up late 3 nights a week and still being able to,
Yeah.
that it's okay, you know, not to make this, not to create a story, not to stay right, keep my list, experimentation, implementation. So
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we staying on the same schedule, Monday and Thursday early for while
yes,
you're at school? Yes. Yes.
yep, that's fun because Mondays obviously I'm coming off the weekend and I'm off on Wednesdays
Ah,
Perfect.
brilliant.
from school,
Mm.
not from work, but from school. So
That's exciting. Oh my God, a week and a half. Are you kidding me? I guess
Yeah,
this
for
yeah,
some reason, I thought it was in June that you're starting something. I
I
don't
remember
know.
it was January or beginning of February where you
Yeah.
said you were going. I'm like, April. Oh, that's months away.
yeah, and here we
Here
are.
it is. Here it is. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Fantastic.
And here's another interesting little tidbit. I remember at the end of February, beginning of March, when I found out everything about my brother and I guess my dad too, but I remember talking to John and going, if you need me, I am free for the month of March because starting in April, I won't have as much availability, and putting out there that if anything's going to happen, let it be in March
Wow.
because then I can be there. And here we are,
Mhm.
including being able to get dad moved before school starts. Now, once dad's moved, I know he's going to be in a better facility. If anything happens, I'm just going to have to trust in that.
Mhm.
Um, and then it will have to be a weekend thing, which then won't interfere with anything.
Mhm.
But everything is happening before massage. Like, I think I'm a little in awe of all of this, that everything is,
Yes.
you know, I put that intent out there, and this one's
Yes.
pretty big. This one's pretty big to have everything falling into place before school
Yeah.
starts.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. And I'm hoping you're a little bit in awe of yourself too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Ah, brilliant. That's very important. That's very important. We need to enjoy ourselves. We need to
Absolutely.
enjoy being who we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Look at
No
all the
apology.
answers.
No
Yeah.
apology.
She has all the answers that you could ever want. They're in her, and she's proving this. And all her abilities are just—they've always been there. They're just having that opportunity to come out and show themselves. And the universe, you're listening to the universe. It's letting you do what it's showing you. So very cool.
You know what was
So
also cool this week about a couple of the sessions? Twice now this week, I had clients that said I would pay for an extra half hour.
Ah, oh,
And do you know what else?
wow.
First time ever, I had a waiting list.
Wow. Yes.
very cool, Robin. That is very, very cool. Hey,
Wow.
what about that? Did you talk to that other lady, Dawn, up at
I had sent out an email to her, so I know I did not get to talk to her, but I did send her an email first thing yesterday morning, and I just said, I know that we were supposed to touch base today, but I have a very busy day. I know you're going away and I'm going away. I will be back on Tuesday. So now the ball's in her court, and I'm okay with that. It felt really, really good because I wanted to follow up. I knew that I would not have time yesterday, which probably had that been entered into it, especially with the way my schedule was, that probably could have teetered it. So had I allowed it to happen the way it was going, supposed to happen with phone calls and stuff, that probably would have tripped me up. And I said, no, this part's not going to work for me today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent.
And I know she's going away now and I'm going away now. So
Mhm.
I'm okay following up with her again.
And how did you meet her or know her, Dawn? Oh,
Amanda, through Amanda.
through Amanda. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
How is Amanda doing?
She's doing well, but last month she had to have a blood transfusion because she really it was like right around her menstrual cycle, and she lost a lot of blood, but she also felt a pop,
Mhm.
almost as if the arteries, and then she found out that they're healed.
Oh, they're completely open.
So
100%.
she was very nervous this month as far as around that time to see, oh my gosh, am I going to be losing a lot of blood again, and is she going to need a transfusion? And so far not.
Good.
So far not. So she's doing well.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to have lunch with her next Friday.
Oh, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
So yeah.
Joy. Tell her I said hi.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got it.
In 2.5 months, 2.5 months, her body healed itself. I think Bill was closer to 6 when they told him 6 months that it had completely opened up 100%. And they were even shocked at that because they thought he wouldn't get the one side back completely, but he got both. But it's, I said, you listened, you did well, you wanted it, you wanted them to open. I mean, your mind can be so strong, it can do so much stuff. It can make you better, and it can also make you sick if you choose that. So it's the choice.
It's funny you mention that because that's the one client that I had yesterday was the one with the residual COVID.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And yesterday was a tough day, and that's where it was a lesson for me with the telling and then coming back and then cueing myself. So it was really neat because at the end of the session, we have some really good conversation in regards to basically what we're talking about, how the body heals itself and how we can choose how we look at it. And I don't remember exactly, I just remember talking about choice with him and choosing for ourselves and being aware. I mean, as that was the session that I was talking about in regards to that, all the concepts, that was what was required yesterday for a session, was all the conceptions.
Wow.
And because I understood them, he understood them, and because he understands my language, it was to see the way he came in, to see the way he walked out was pretty neat and interesting.
Wow. Is he the one with the It also asks about the salt,
Yes.
the
Yep.
oxygen.
Yep. I sent him, new house. I sent him Vanessa. I sent him even Jen Ragazzo. I said, here you go.
Mhm.
Now what you choose to do
Good,
with this is
good. Yeah,
up
gave
to
him lots
you.
of choices. Didn't tell him what to do. You gave him lots of choices. Beautiful. Mhm.
No, but it was really nice. And when we started talking about the choice, excuse me, at the very end, that was pretty powerful.
Mhm.
And it was coming in gently and slowly with the, okay, here you are, but you could choose how you deal with it. You could choose how you react to what's going on with you right now. But I didn't say it directly like that. It was, being more
Mhm.
careful with how I shared it
Mhm.
to make
What
sure I was being appropriate with it, but completely heard it, understood it, and had an aha. So, because even when I had mentioned about that, this is what I was doing, he said, maybe when I get better, he goes, it sounds like something I should be doing. And when I'm in a better spot, he goes,
Oh,
I
oh.
may have to reach out to you. But right now his body, he's basically in bed about 23 hours a day. So
Ah. So what's his post-COVID stuff? Is it just a massive fatigue? What is
massive fatigue, overload with stimulation. So he has to wear, actually, he walks around with headphones on. Yesterday was a bad day, but it was raining and everything. So it was almost like, when the migraine, he had to be in complete darkness, complete quiet. His body, it's very interesting when you put your hands on his body because it is like this stiff um, board
Hmm.
and nothing's going on.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then as we work together, there, it's never 100% at the end, but there's definitely a difference, a shift,
Mhm.
a softness, and it's bringing in the biggest thing. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but bringing in the concepts with him is what's shifting him.
Hmm.
Even when I have my hands there, I'm bringing in from myself, okay, what am I aware of with my hands here right now? Okay, I'm feeling this. Then I go on the outside. What
Mhm.
are you aware of? Okay, and then we're just moving there. Now, yesterday, because it was a bad day, silence,
Yeah.
which was wonderful for me too, because remember, for a little bit there, I was looking back now, I was telling.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's that uncomfortable silence that you feel you need to fill that void all the time, and you don't.
I don't.
Oh,
And here's the interesting thing is at the first session, I didn't feel that way.
Mm.
So this was me, the client yesterday, because it's, well, why did you feel you need to say something this time? Because last time you knew just to be silent and that's all that was needed, which that's all that's needed now. So why did, it was a, it was, as much as I'm sharing about him, it was all about me.
yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I understood that, I stepped back and went, oh my gosh, it's not about you. It's not about you. So I just literally went back to the Doral tube and just sat there.
Mhm.
And then, boom, the session was magnificent from there.
Wow.
But I'm also grateful for that experience because it was an experience of, see, habit. We it's there, but I was aware of it and
Mm.
I didn't force it. I didn't change it. I heard the client, I
Nice,
recognized for myself, and I stepped away.
nice.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I hope you are appreciating your ability to apply in this case, to apply awareness in the moment. That's a huge deal. It seems so simple when you do it, but think back in your life. That ability to recognize and be aware and acknowledge in the moment what's happening and to change it, apply, shift. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I hope you're appreciating that about yourself.
I am. I really, really,
Yes.
as I said, yesterday was a fantastic
Yes.
day.
Yes. In
Um,
other words, you can say, I have changed.
I have changed.
You are noticing how you have changed, and you are doing, you are applying, you are being. It's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yes.
Really, really, really awesome. It's a big
Which
deal. I really mean to emphasize this, to have a shift, to say, whoa, yeah, wow, I really, really have changed.
Mhm.
Not just I am changing, but I have changed already. Of course, I'm still changing, and I'll always have some change in some way. But also, I have changed, and this I have things I am in a way I can enjoy and celebrate. This one single simple change, the ability to recognize in a moment, is unbelievably transformative and huge. It's what we work towards, that deliberate living, being aware in the moment and being able to act on it. This is the everything pretty much. Yeah.
Mhm.
yes. Yes.
How cool is that, Robin? How cool is that?
It feels fabulous. It
Body
really
time.
does. And and that word simplicity has been
Yeah,
one of the key words.
it's a gift.
It's so simple, and so simplicity has been in the back of my head this week.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It makes we make things difficult. I swear that's just wired in our DNA sometimes, but we don't. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
All right. We have some we're going to go over the recaps again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And what's really, again, what was neat with this is that I had just rewritten all of them, but as I wrote all of these in my head, I just, yup, I could pull from different experiences. So the first one was number 35, which was hearing is listening without looking to respond.
Ah,
Stop it.
wow,
This
wow,
is
wow.
madness when this happens. Jesus Christ. Ah, that's too funny. Ah,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
These are the recaps we're going through now, right?
yeah, on
Yes.
slide 35.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love these. I love these recaps. I don't know why I don't do more of it in the other programs. I must go back and add it. I think I love it. The
Yeah,
recaps.
they're really good, Sil. You've added them to the later ones in the morning, some more of them, and it's good.
Yeah,
It's a
that's what I'm
recap.
saying. I love
Really
it. I really love it. It's really cool.
puts it
So
together because there's a lot of information.
yeah, yeah.
And look at what comes up. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I want to go and redo it on other things. It's so powerful. It's very cool. It's very cool. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
The way I wrote this one was make sure they feel heard.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Practice power pausing.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hear what someone really is.
Yes. 1 second before you go further on the recaps. On that first one, listening without looking to respond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't that just mean self-trust?
Yes.
You trust yourself. You'll respond as appropriate or not. Either way. That's it. There's no need. There's no lack in you. Again, nothing to apologize for. No lack in
Oh,
you. There's no lack in you. Just because you don't necessarily know ahead of time what you're going to say, doesn't mean there's something lacking in you. No, there's nothing lacking in you. What will come will come. Trust yourself. You'll respond as appropriate. End of story. Whether that's nothing, you don't need to respond even. The fact that you aren't responding is part of the power of hearing, right? There's a bit of a false belief when it comes to respond. We think we need to. And then when we don't, then there's that awkward silence. It comes from feeling that we should be responding. No, there's no should to it. There's no need to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Just hearing somebody is the most appropriate response. Whether you actually say something or not, that's something else.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny until you find replacements for, that's an issue a lot of people have is that awkward silence. But the simplicity of it is You don't have to respond.
Exactly.
You don't have to say anything. But nobody, I swear, I'm not going to say nobody knew that that replacement was out there, but that's the simple replacement. It's okay.
Exactly.
If you don't respond.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
What you are responding with, you could say, is being comfortable.
Yeah, there you
You're
go.
responding with being accepting. Yes.
Mhm.
You are
Mhm.
responding. Your main response is with hearing somebody. That's it. When there's a silence, there's, I'm hearing you, I'm feeling you, I'm absorbing you, I'm just being with you.
Mhm.
That is an incredible response. If I'm comfortable being silent with you, that means I'm comfortable being with you.
Mhm.
How? What
Yeah.
an incredible response. What an
Mhm.
incredible response. What can be more self-affirming to an individual than somebody else just being able to be with them and be comfortable?
Mhm.
In other words, I am okay and enjoy being with you, you, not what you say, but you.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
It, that session yesterday was really, really wonderful for me because that opportunity of habit, having starting to tell, and then also having the experience of no, silence, listen, be.
Yeah.
And it was, I didn't get caught up in it, where in the past that would have created an immersion bubble. And then I would have been so even though I might have been silent, I myself would have been in an I was in nothing. It brought me right back to what's important here now,
Yeah.
and it's just being.
Mhm.
Yes.
So it was a nice lesson. It really was a nice lesson,
Yes.
reminder.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Now let's go a little further. In that silence, what does it cue? By implication, what does it cue? It,
The first word that popped in my head was actually response,
exactly.
and not necessarily.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, the silence is a response. It also cues that I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. But furthermore, I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you on your terms, in
Mhm.
your pacing. I'm giving you space.
Mm-hmm.
This is on your terms. You can go as fast, as slow as you like, say as much or as little as you like. I have no agenda here other than to hear you. That's it. However long you wish to not say anything, that's cool. But I'm here for you.
Mhm.
The moment you start responding, it's about you now, not about them. When you start to say stuff. Yeah. William. Hey, Bill.
Running off. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I know. All good. All good. So our not filling that silence is an incredible statement of respect for the other person, of acceptance of them.
Mhm.
You can even take it a little bit further and say it's love for them. No? I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with you, which means I'm accepting of you, which means I like being with you. I'm not awkward. I'm not uncomfortable. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm loving you, but we can put that in there. I just love being with you. I'm happy. I just feel it. It's not a problem. It's all cool. It's acceptance, full acceptance. I mean, depending on your own personal style of doing things, it can go into that positive range of love. But nonetheless, that silence is absolutely cues, acceptance, space, timing, pacing, everything. I'm here and it's all about you right now. I'm hearing you. I'm here for you. It's one way. right? Because that's what the hearing is. It's all coming from you to me. I'm just here to hear you. End of story. You want to be silent? I'm cool with that. It's very respectful.
Yeah, that again, now that as you're going further, I can now look at my previous sessions and in that one, how I wound up getting into habit because as I was telling,
Mm,
and I'm using that word because I need to use that word. I could feel the shift in myself and going, oh, this isn't the way we've been going. This isn't the way I've been working. We're going into something different again. And then when I look back at my earlier sessions, it actually keeps me accountable. So maybe I had that experience yesterday just as an accountability.
yeah.
It was an experience to say, hey, just remember what can happen. And and I was aware of it and I shifted. So
Yeah.
because that respect, silence, and being respectful and accepting of others, that's huge.
Yes. You are cueing that you are making space for them. You are cueing that it's about their timing, their pacing. They are the ones who are deciding how much, how little to share, how quickly to share. Yeah.
Yes, and I felt, wow, this is really bringing up, even more from it as far as I could feel that rush instead of how I had been feeling of, so yes,
So
I
we are
started to
cueing
feel
no
that rush and
expectations, right?
yes,
How awesome and liberating and freeing is that? To be in a situation where somebody says there are no expectations of you, no obligations. We can just be silent, no problem. How often does that
yes,
happen?
because I even, it was neat because, and as I said, I could feel myself. I could feel the shift in me, and I'm going. It was like an out of body experience of going, "Oh my gosh, Robin, you're like stop, 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 stop." And then it was
Brilliant.
magnificent because he was able to stop because it was overload, and it snapped me out of it, and I went yes because I
Brilliant.
recognized it. He recognized it for himself, and then I said, "If you want, put your headphones on. Just put your headphones on." And he had these other little ear things in his earbuds, and we were silent for the rest of the session.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And it was
Fantastic.
really neat because it's almost like I'm keeping you out, and for me I'm keeping you out, and we're just here. So it was, yes, wow. That was actually a lesson for me yesterday. That was a reminder. That was a reminder of what I already know.
Exactly. Exactly. And how magical is that, right? That you get this stuff, it's so cool. It's so cool, these reminders. It's so cool because, we're learning a lot. So reminders are very necessary and helpful and welcomed. It's very cool. Yeah. Very, very
Which,
cool.
because of that, so if you go to the next one, as far as hear the client's moreness, their actual self.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. 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 Yeah.
Which for us as these craniosacral therapists, well, when we are silent and we are hearing and we're listening, well, then you can hear the tissues with your hands and you could feel the moreness. And then when the client actually takes that breath that is that releasing breath of something
Ah,
shifted, yeah, it yeah, it's nice.
yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Very, very cool. Simple things. That's why I love these recaps so much. They're very simple, but boy, there's a lot to them. Yeah.
The next one was hear beyond words.
Hmm.
Listen without prejudice.
Yeah. Yes. 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 One of the biggest prejudices we need to overcome is the prejudice of assuming the client is broken.
Hearing what the client means but not necessarily says.
Yes. 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 You know what's going on inside your head, but you also know that you have a lot of trouble sometimes explaining that, right? Or
Yes.
expressing it. Yeah. 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 Again, it's overcoming that prejudice that the client doesn't know, the client is lacking, the client needs to learn. No, sometimes it's simply a matter of just having the practice of expressing ourselves. It's not that we're unable to do so, we just never had the practice because nobody's ever listened to us. We're always told to shut up in life and not say anything. You like this kid, you don't know nothing, you're useless, you need to learn all of the stuff. You know a lot of stuff, you never got an opportunity to express it, you never were heard. So when we get this, it doesn't. You know a lot of stuff, but you don't know how to say it. That's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. Really, really big deal. That's why we just make the obvious obvious. You do know it. I'm just making the obvious obvious. But I didn't connect to it. I wasn't aware of it. But you do know it. It is obvious. You understand it. See, you already have it in you. So it's overcoming this prejudice of seeing inability on some way as lessness. No, it's not lessness. No, it's just no, hasn't had opportunity to get practiced yet. That's it. Very simple.
The next one is very similar, which is hear what the client is trying to say.
Yeah. 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 And that doesn't mean that I know what they are trying to say. Not at all. I just want to hear that they are trying to say something. In other words, my hearing is, yeah, and what else? Or I'm still not quite fully with you. Whatever. I'm just so I'll give them space to keep going because they know they're trying to say something and it's not quite coming out. But I don't just accept what they say because, well, that's not the fullness of it. It's not quite exactly right. So I'm just kind of wait even more. Again, that silence. That's it. I'm hearing what you're trying to say. I know it's not finished yet. I'm waiting. Very simple. Again,
Okay.
overcome that prejudice of assuming things are what there's more, there's more, there's more. Yeah.
What I can do, am doing, is being receptive.
Mm, 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 mm. I might as well just be an encapsulation of all the other points right there, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a receptive, emphasized. It's a special term, to receptivity is a big deal, and I'm assuming it's in your dictionary of power, yes?
Yeah, but not as big as it is today.
Yes, yes. To be receptive, we give the benefit of the doubt. We assume there's more. And when we assume there's more, it opens us up to hear beyond what we know. Let me repeat that. When we assume there's more, when we just take for granted there's more, we hear beyond what we know. Let's go back to the previous one. Hear what the client is trying to say. The moment I assume I know what the client is going to say, I've created a bubble and I'm not really receptive. I hear only what I think they are going to say. Yeah. But when I assume there's more, I hear beyond what I think they're going to say. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm having this assume and think. So
Okay.
can
So if
you
you
get,
assume you know what I'm going to say, then you've already primed your ear to hear what you think I'm going to say. And that's it. No more. Right? So the assumption limits the field, the range, the scope of what you're going to hear. If you assume you know what I'm going to say, that's pretty much all you're going to hear for the most part, right?
So you used a different word instead of assume when you were saying when we assume more, we hear beyond what we know.
Or when we assume there is more. No, when we take for granted rather than assume.
Granted,
When we
it.
take for granted. Yeah. When we accept there's more as a default. Yeah. Take when your kids come home and complain and whine. If you assume that they're just complaining and whining, that's all you're going to hear. But what if there's some deeper issue going on? Some real, doubt of self, or some real deeper problem that they don't know how to deal with. And the complaints and the whining are just the preamble to get to this thing that they're really awkward about. You'll never hear that if you assume you know that what they're doing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this receptivity, though, that's what I'm on the point of receptivity. When we just take for granted, when we are just accepting that there's more, we hear past what we know. We hear beyond the limits of our knowledge. Yeah.
Why?
You say why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're open to something outside of that I'm ignorant of. We are just saying, I might not know what there is because there's more. Yeah. So it's acceptance of our own limitations of knowing, of understanding, of experience. Yeah.
I think where I'm getting a little tripped up here is that I understand what you're saying in regards to the assume and taking granted. There's going to be more, but for me, it's more when I assume it equates to the thinking where it limits. So I guess I need to hear it in a different way.
Our expectations limit what we hear. You want to put it that way.
Okay. Yes, that. Okay. That helps.
Yeah. I mean, let me just think of this, Robin. How much more is there to you? And think back to say, just, I don't know, go back in time a little bit, and think of your teachers, right? But I mean, think of, say, when you were in your 20s, and think of your teachers, because it's not a big remove from your high school teachers to when you're in the 20s, right? They still sort of think they know you, and how they perceived you, and how much of you that you know there is in you now, that's always been in you, that was in you when you were at school or in your 20s. How much of that was there that they never knew was there? They never clicked, they never heard, they never saw, because they didn't have this openness to that there's more to Robin.
I know exactly when I was 13 years old.
What happened?
I had a teacher that assumed that I was not going to, because for us, I lived on Staten Island in New York, and you had to apply to your high schools. And she assumed that I wasn't getting into any of my high schools. And I said, oh, yeah. And I got into every single one of them.
Yes,
So
exactly. Yes, exactly. There's a hell of a lot more to you. And it's amazing how much those expectations can kind of limit people. In this case, it didn't. Good for you, Robin. But it's a really potent, though. It's really potent. And a good question to ask is, why did she believe that about you?
I don't know.
I
And you
mean,
know
were you
what?
queuing something?
Oh, that I don't know.
Just saying, I'm not saying you did or didn't. It's just interesting thought. Maybe, I knew there was more to me, but outwardly I didn't share or project that. Possibly, I don't know. I'm just, I don't want to assume, just throwing out ideas.
No, but it's really interesting because I remember my mom sharing with me my first grade teacher. Oh, she was just for me, never receptive to me, we'll just say. And my mom remembered going for I guess, a parent-teacher conference, and she basically said that I was a know-it-all. And I never saw myself as that way. This is first grade.
Wow, a first grade
So,
teacher saying that's ridiculous. I mean, seriously,
but
come on.
but the thing is that I never saw myself that way. Like I didn't know what I was doing to provoke that response. So it was, and obviously it stayed with me all these years
Yeah.
because I don't know what I was doing to, and so, when you mentioned just about even at 13, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was doing to provoke the responses in
Right.
others.
Yeah.
But now that we're going a step further, I am now more aware of myself. So maybe that's part of what this lesson is that to learn to be more aware of myself.
Exactly. Because there are two instances in which something in you cued people to respond in a way. Now, whether or not they are appropriate or not is totally irrelevant. The fact that you don't know what caused their inappropriate response, it's very important. Now, obviously, okay, when you're young like that, awareness is something that is not necessarily to be expected. And it's a failure of the teachers and the parents in this case that they weren't able to communicate appropriately. They never heard you. They didn't even bother to check if you understood what they were talking about.
Right.
It's terrible. But anyway, so
No,
again,
but
we
it's
get
just
into the value of hearing.
yes.
Yeah.
And the cueing. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. Never took it from that
Exactly.
angle before.
Exactly. And when we realized that we could do things which could cause people to think of us inappropriately, that's like, wow, I didn't intend this, but yet somebody's thinking this. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Now, yes,
big.
sometimes people will come to conclusions based on their own stuff. It's very huge. It's very huge. And it's a tricky thing though, too, because sometimes you could know what you're doing and somebody still gets you wrong. Okay, you arm deliberately. It's like, seriously, dude, how did you get to this idea? And it's their own stuff that they don't want to, for instance, accept and acknowledge the truth about you because this is uncomfortable for them. So there's all sorts of complications involved. But nonetheless, if you're going to get me wrong and I know what I'm doing, I'm happy with what I'm doing, well, that's too bad. That's on you. So it's this, the self-awareness in the moment is very important to monitor our own output. In other words, very, very, very important. Yeah. How am I being received and how am I being perceived? Yeah. Doesn't mean that I'm going around trying to appease people and please them and influence them. I just want to be aware that what I'm doing, how I'm being received, matches what I'm trying to put out. Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
very
cool.
hard though.
Yeah.
It is very hard. It is very hard. It's very difficult to get external perspective on ourselves. It's very difficult. It's not easy.
The last one's pay due respect, and I also had my next mission.
Which is
It's funny when I wrote that, I said it's going to present itself, and now here I am. And the mission has presented itself. So, um,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I can even go, my next mission is trusting in what shows up for me. keep it that simple.
Yeah. So to pay attention to what I think I'm doing is what I'm actually doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you feel about
All
that, Sue?
right.
Um, yeah, because we're in such autopilot. Sometimes you really have to think about what you're doing, because sometimes it's just a robotic response, and automated, and it's not even necessary. Um, so you need to think about it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to constantly be on the alert to monitor our output and to pay attention to how it's being received and to correlate the two, to say what I intend is actually what is happening. Just to check. Yeah. Yeah. What I put out,
Mhm.
let me check if it is actually received the way I'm intending it to be received.
Mhm. Morning,
Good
B.
morning.
Hello.
So you were.
Hello,
Hello,
hello.
Hello, Robin.
Hello, hello.
So how you
Beena's
doing?
coming from art classes. Hello,
Yes.
Beena.
I, I am getting ready for my next mission.
Huh?
That's like a space mission.
What's the mission? What is the mission?
Going back down to Florida
Move her.
Fantastic.
and moving Dad.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Now, in abstract terms, what would the mission be?
Good question.
That's what you're going to be doing in the physicality, in the actuality. But in moreness terms, in bigger picture terms, in kind of hearing and helping terms, in way of impeccability terms, in your dictionary of power terminology, what is it that you're going to be doing?
Well, first thing is I'm going to be following through. That's
There
the
you
first.
go.
That's
All
the
right. So
very
the
first thing
mission
that
is
popped in my
follow
head.
through. Yes. What else?
I am being deliberate.
Yes, follow through, the liberation. This is the application. That's what the mission is, the application of follow through, the application of the liberation. Yes, what else?
And I'm going to be appropriate.
The application of appropriateness. Yes, yes, yes. What else?
The word acceptance. I'm going to be
Yes.
accepting.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Accepting of what exactly?
Accepting of what may. The word that's coming is circumstances, but
Yes,
it's just accepting of the circumstances that are going to,
yes.
that can occur, will occur, and then I guess also occurring.
Yes, yes. Dynamic fluidity. That's huge. The acceptance of what is, and the acceptance of you changing things, doing things, you being in charge of the situation, you being confident, you being competent, you trusting. Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of acceptance going on here, but mostly it's not just accepting of well, if you're accepting the entire situation, you are a part of that situation. Yes.
Yes.
So self-acceptance, the fact that you are being called to accept the situation means to accept that you are being called to do things specifically. Yeah.
Yes.
Which means that you have to accept that you are able to do this, which is where the self-trust comes from.
Yes.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Simple as that. Very simple. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Keep going. Keep going. We do lots and lots of things that we don't realize we're doing, but we want to realize that we're doing them, right? This is what the list is. Yeah.
Diligent comes up.
Yes. Impeccable, in other words. You're going to go and be impeccable over there. Yeah. Yeah.
The word determined also just came up.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Determined to do and be what? Let's get specific on this determined.
So what's coming up is to carry out the mission that I have prepared myself for. Armed with all my arsenal of power tools
Yes. Yes.
that are available to me
Yes. Yes. Yes.
as I need them, and to be aware of those times / situations that I will be required to access and use them.
Yes. 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 So this is a determination to apply yourself, your fullness, your moreness, your spirit warriorness, the Robinness that's you. Yes.
Yes.
Determination to apply, to implement. Yes.
Yes.
Did you see that face when Robin said determination? She kind of looked off to the side like that, had her face kind of angled, stayed out. You know, like when they do those fighter pilot shots, standing by the plane, they're always kind of coming up from a little bit below. That was the look on your face. It was very cool.
Yeah.
Going into the mission, you had, when you said determined, you were thinking about it. You got that look, that kind of, it's very cool. Very cool. Very That's huge. So let's do a quick recap of your recap. Right? You said you're going on a mission. Your mission is follow through. Yes?
Yes, that was, yes.
Right. Then what was the second one that you said? I forget the second one.
Oh gosh, you're gonna make me. That was complete.
Okay, never mind. Follow through. Then
That was that was complete trust.
Yeah, and then you said appropriateness. You're going to, your mission is to be appropriate.
Follow through, determined,
Deliberate,
deliberate. Right.
impeccable.
And impeccable. Right. There was the second one that you said that I forget after the
accepting,
yeah.
appropriate.
Determined.
Determined.
Yeah, I have that. Follow through, determined, deliberate, impeccable, accepting, appropriate,
And impeccable.
impeccable.
Yeah.
It looks different when I write it down.
And that's something.
It's like I wrote down my mission, and that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Accepting too. Yes, you got accepting on it.
Yep, I do.
Yeah, and trusting. Self-trusting.
My mission.
What a mission. What a mission. What a magical, joyful, fantastic, just delicious mission, yes?
Like I said, it looks different when you write it down, when you take the time to.
There's power there. There's power there. There's power there. Again, let's look at the implications. The implication, if you're going on a mission like that, and this is your mission, that you, the one who's determined this is your mission, not anybody else, but you, which means that you believe you are capable of applying all of those things. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, duh. How cool is that? I mean, of course you're capable of it, but it's to be aware that you are capable of it and that you feel and believe you're capable of it. Not just think you're capable of it, but feel it also. Yeah. Feel it and believe it deeply, in other words. It's you gotta feel it, but you do already. That's why you feel this is a mission. That's very cool. I'm just making the obvious here that there's a big shift in Robin. That Robin's this whole other creature now.
I just wrote, I believe I am capable of accomplishing what I have set out to do on my next mission.
Mm, mm,
Mhm.
So in your fighter pilot screenshot, if you want to get there when you said determination, is roughly about 125 plus or minus a couple minutes. If ever you want to go and pull a screenshot of it. It was a very cool look. Very cool.
Oh, you mean on the playback? On the playback.
On the recording, yeah.
This is really interesting. Because this is following through to the end too, writing that statement out. Not just writing like, my mission and I just wrote the words, but to write it in, I believe I am.
Yeah. And also what we did is when you first said your mission, when Beena asked, oh, what's your mission? He said, oh, going down to Florida to move your father. But that's not the real mission. The real mission is the abstract, the moreness, the bigger picture stuff, right? So there's also this mission to resolve matters, to take care of things, to put things in
Resolution.
balance. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the meanings of mission is to release. And we say that okay, it is my mission. Like we want to release something, and release could be old habits, patterns, behaviors,
There you
something
go.
which we were holding on.
There you go.
We all have a lot of things to always. This is interesting that every single time when we release something, there is also always more to release. Okay, now this is something I need to release more. For me, it is like that. And it is interesting that my mission, I had this understanding before that by mission, it is something like I just choose to do and it is something not needed. But when we see things from a different perspective, like mission means to release, it means that it was already there. And in your situation right now, this was the impeccability you already had. That was the responsibility you already taken yourself by yourself, and now you are releasing it. By doing it, sometimes release is also like just doing it, making it complete, and finishing it. It's really interesting. Wow.
So cool. So cool. I love it. I love it. I love that you see these as missions, but they are missions of joy. Yeah. Missions of potency, missions of power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Missions that matter. They really matter. They make a big difference to you. Yeah.
Right.
Lots of power involved. Simple stuff, but lots of power involved. When you look at it in this, again, overview, abstract, this is the magic of the dictionary of power. When we look at things through the lens of that, you aren't just going down to take care of your father. You're doing so much more, right? The whole mission has changed now, no?
Yeah.
Now, likewise, next time you're with a client, what's your mission? In the same view, look through the lens of the dictionary of power. What's your mission with your client? Obviously, to hear them is one. Yes?
Yeah, but it's
There's more. Exactly.
there's more and
A lot more. changes everything to look at the world this way, yeah?
It does.
It takes that reminder, what am I doing? What am I doing, to a whole new level. What am I doing? Yes, I'm going to transfer my father, but what am I really doing? Oh, all sorts of exciting stuff. Yeah.
And you know, I'm laughing because, oh my gosh, when you say it in that way, it has a whole new meaning.
Yes.
For me.
Yes. You know, the multiverse theory, you know, people say the multiple universes and they all coexist at the same time.
Yes.
And all it takes is a perspective shift or some magic frequency change or something, and you move from one universe to another. Well, that just happened to you right now. You just now suddenly, or you're living in a different universe. Did you see the shift there, Sue, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Suddenly, just you're living in a different universe right now than you were, a couple minutes back. It's so cool.
It is
Suddenly,
cool.
life has taken on all of this moreness, magical moreness, right there. Boom, just like it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah.
Is it really that? Is that really how it works?
Yeah. So simple. Yeah. Perspective shift changes the world. It's an incredible thing. Yep. It's really how it works.
All right, let's see what this next one brings up.
So it seems anticlimax after all of that.
I know.
No, Robin, actually, you did say you wanted to leave early. This might be a
I
good
did. And you know what? Yes, let's not.
Yeah, let's not dilute what this magic shift in this new universe, seeing that what am I doing now suddenly has this dictionary of power is the answer to that question. What am I doing? I'm applying my dictionary of power. Yes. I'm living in moreness. I'm always doing more than just the practical stuff, you know, the mundane stuff. There's always a sublime to my mundane. There's always this deepness to it. Always.
Yes, and that's how. Go ahead.
No, is that slide 35, 36 or 37? 30,
That was 35.
what we just finished. So we're
We just got through 35. We'll be starting on 36.
Right.
But how I've ended it was, what am I really doing? And I am living in moreness.
Yes, exactly. And you're applying your dictionary of power. Always, in every situation, every circumstance, you're applying your dictionary of power. Because that dictionary of power is you. This is real you. When you say, what am I as a spirit warrior? And somebody wants details. Well, what does a spirit warrior mean? What does Robin as spirit warrior mean? You pull out the dictionary of power and say, yeah, that's what it means. This is what comprises me. This is what matters to me. This is who I really am. This is my moreness. This is my depth.
Okay.
Well, Robin, pretty potent, yeah?
I've got this.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've got this, and
to
I'm
Robin.
going
There's
to
a lot more to
continue getting
Robin.
my mission together.
Fantastic.
Going to organize
Fantastic.
for my mission.
There you go. Exactly. Diligence, thoroughness, scrupulousness, preparedness, caution, everything. Yeah. Always. Any warrior on a mission, any agent on a mission, you've got to be appropriately prepared. That's it.
Bless you.
It's part of your impeccability. Bless you, Sue. Twice.
All right. Well, then I'm going to have coffee and I'm going to start my day.
Yes.
Oh, my
Yes,
coffee's
yes,
being
yes.
brought. Look at this. Ask and you shall
There you
receive.
go. There you go. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you,
Thank you,
Kevin.
All right.
Fantastic.
Have a magical day.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
and
Robin.
I will see you on Monday.
Perfect. Keep us
Yes.
posted.
Up to
You
you.
got it.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a wonderful mission. Have a wonderful mission.
You
Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Salute you out. Fantastic. Bye bye, Robin.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
My thing gets